Hello, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Talking About Rock, sponsored by School of Rock, Rochester, New York. Remember, you can catch all our interviews on all the streaming platforms wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. Also, you can check out our new website, talkingaboutrock.com. Today on the show, we have for you Demons Down. This band is a creation of hard rock gurus Chuck Wright from Quiet Riot, House of Lords, Jimmy Bell, also from House of Lords and Autograph, and studio master Ken Mary. With two talented up-and-coming musicians, vocalist James Robledo, Sinner's Blood, and guitarist Francesco Savino from False Memories. Their debut album, I Stand, sees this gathering of young performers and established skilled players delivering an outstanding classic hard rock album. Next, we chat with guitarist Jimmy Bell on Talking About Rock. Okay, let's welcome guitarist Jimmy Bell to the show. Jimmy, how are you doing today, man?
Wonderful, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Well, you're a busy guy, and you've definitely made quite a mark in quite a few bands, going from House of Lords, Autograph, and now you got a new project to talk to us about today, Demons Down.
Yeah, it's a great project, man. I'm really excited about it. So much going on with different. Sorry, I'm just looking at so much going on with different things this year. If someone told me, a few years back that within a 6-month period you're going to be releasing 3 albums within a 6-month period, I would say that's insane. Nobody does that. But I mean,
being like 2 or 3 different bands at the same time.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. And when I tell you, it was kind of weird. They all kind of started happening at the same time. So it wasn't like there was one, then this one, then this one. I was writing for all 3 records all at once.
All at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, so
cool.
I had to think about, James Christian. I had to with House of Lords, and I had to concentrate on what would fit for Simon and Autograph, and
we spoke to Simon a while back, about a couple weeks ago, but I love your opening lick on the new Autograph, man. It's killer. It's killer.
Yeah, that's the tapping thing and stuff.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
That what I like, I have a lot of different styles of music that I like, but I enjoy writing straight rock like that. Like Autograph's more of a straight ahead rock band,
exactly.
which is really cool. House of Lords is, they consider that melodic rock. So I learned a real lot from when I joined House of Lords in 2005. I'd always written songs. I mean, it wasn't like I started only writing in 2005. I've been writing songs like way back in the 80s. My first band there, Joined Forces, the band that was in the Michael J. Fox movie with Joan, Jett, and everything.
Right. You were actually in the movie, and you were the backup band for Joan Jett. Yeah, you were the Huns, right?
We're the Huns. We're Joan Jett's band in the movie. And that was a trip, man. I mean, we had toured with Joan Jett. We were with the same, a person that managed us worked for Blackheart Records. So they put us on tour. And that was a funny experience, because here we are. We're a kind of a newish band, but we had a 3-song cassette. But the manager that took on Joint Forces, his partner owned a fleet of tour buses. Like his tour buses went out with Motley Crue and all the other big bands. So
he had the Silver Eagles, yeah.
So we go out. We go out on tour with Joan Jett on an East Coast tour, and we have just a 3-song cassette, but we have a tour bus, man. We're out on a tour bus, and we're young. We're not making any money, but we got, they gave us $10 a day to eat, but we didn't care.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the levels back in the day. If you had this Silver Eagle tour bus, you're on your way going up the ladder, right?
Yeah. I mean, this was the big deal. So it was like, so we went out with Joan, and then we did an East Coast run with her. It went great. And then the opportunity for the movie came about. So we still had to send in some photos, but we had to look exactly what they were looking for, and what a great experience. Getting to hang out with Michael J. Fox and talking guitars with him, because he really knows how he played in that movie in
In Light of
Light of
Day.
Day. Yeah, he actually played in that one. That was a very cool experience right there. We talked about guitars and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, that's so
It's
cool.
kind of weird when you're just sitting at lunch, with these guys, the way that it is.
Right, you're at craft services and they're just all coming out just.
Yeah, it was being on a movie set was a whole trip too. You have a trailer you have to be in at 4 a.m. getting all made up for the part. You saw what we looked like. We had like really wild looking. We were supposed to be kind of like a Kiss type looking band. And what was even funnier was I was always pale white anyway, and they put even more white makeup on me to make me look even more. I was laughing about that.
That had to be such a great experience, hanging with Joan Jett. I think the lady just doesn't get enough credit for what she does.
Oh my God, I love her. We've been and her and I got along so well. I'm actually the only person that she took a picture with. I actually hung out with her a bit. Her and I just struck up a really good friendship during that time. And even after all that, she always remembered me. Matter of fact, a few years back, they were playing around where I live up here in Connecticut. They were playing around, and I got to go back. I still have their contact people's information. So I went and they set up the meet and greet thing, and I waited in line like everybody else. But then when I got down, I said, Joan, I don't know if you remember, but I was in Light of Day with you. She knew who I was right away, and it was great. We have a photo of exactly 30 years apart.
That's excellent. Yeah. Every time I've seen her, she's just been so great. A great performer all the time. Seems super, super nice. And I just don't think she gets her due for what she does. Definitely. But
no, she doesn't. But she still kicks, man. I've got great experiences with her on the road and everything. So
yeah, she was ripping it up on the crew tour, man. It was great.
Nonstop, man. She's great.
So after that, you also had another very big deal going on. You auditioned for Ozzy Osbourne in 1987.
86. It was 86. It was and out of all the people, it got down between me and Zakk Wylde. I was endorsed by Kramer Guitars back then. I didn't have a record deal or anything, but the president of Kramer Guitars happened to see me play guitar, and he loved the way that I played. So they were giving me all these guitars, and they wanted to take me on as a personal management from the company. So I'll never forget it. It's so crazy. It's a Wednesday morning, and I get a phone call from Kramer, and they said, Jimmy, they got Jakey Lee's out of Ozzy. And they're auditioning guitar players. We sent your video, and Sharon really likes it. So you're going to go out and audition for Ozzy. And I'm flipping out. I'm going, really? I'm going, when am I going? Next week or something? They go, no, today. Your plane booked. You got to get to the plane right now.
Oh my gosh! It's like, no pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Thanks for giving me some preparation.
Right.
But I knew a few Ozzy songs anyway, because I had played them in a cover band. So I go out there, and they already kind of started working with Zakk anyway.
Right.
So when I went out there, you didn't get to audition with Ozzy. You auditioned with Randy Castile and Phil Suzanne, the rhythm section.
Right.
But when I did it, Sharon Osbourne sat there and watched me do the audition. So when I got done, she said to me, Jimmy, she goes, you're going to play with Ozzy tomorrow. We're going to bring Ozzy in. So the next day I go to a whole different studio with a big stage and big sound in there. And in walks Ozzy, It's the period where he just shaved his head and he had that big tattoo up here. You know, he
Right.
had just
Yep. He
gotten
just
that.
gotten that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. I said that, you know, in another interview, but it really is true that you see Ozzy in magazines or in videos, TV or whatever, but nothing. It doesn't compare to when you're face to face with him. It's really
Right.
strange, you
Right.
know, really crazy.
I'm sure it
So
is, definitely.
yeah, so I played. I got up on stage and I played. First song was I Don't Know, and then we did Crazy Train, Suicide Solution. I think I had to do a guitar solo. I think he even did Flying High again or something. And Ozzy, I could tell, was really digging the way I was playing because I started off I Don't Know, and I had a really good groove. I was having a good week playing wise. You know, I was very comfortable. And so I'm doing it, and he started doing that thing with the microphone where he goes back and forth like this, and
Right.
then when I was doing a guitar solo, he got right down in front of the amp and listened. And I get done doing everything, and Sharon and Ozzy sat me down and said, "Jimmy, it's between you and Zach." So they took me out to dinner to this real expensive place. They brought me over to wherever they were staying, their chalet or whatever, wherever they were renting on Sunset Strip. I met Ozzy's youngest daughter, Amy, who wasn't in the Osbourne show.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She didn't want to be involved in any of that stuff. Yeah.
No, she didn't. But it was funny. I'm in the living room sitting on a couch, and Ozzy's in a chair, and he's got Amy on his lap, and all of a sudden they're watching MTV or VH1 or something, and Black Sabbath's Paranoid comes on while we're there, and he's bouncing her. He goes, "Look, Amy, there's Daddy, there's Daddy." You know, it was just, I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything, you know.
That's such a
It
trip.
was just, yeah, it was a trip.
Man,
So, anyways, you know, they send me home. I find out, you know, very sad. I found out that they decided to go with Zach, and I understand. You know, Zach was younger than me. He played a Les Paul. He looked, you know, a bit like, you know, more like Randy Rhoads. He doesn't look like he looks now. You know, he was
right.
very
Right. Totally different
cut.
look back then.
Yeah,
Definitely.
much different, clean cut young kid.
Right.
So, you know, I'm sitting around, and one day my phone rings, and there's an English gentleman on the other line, and he says, "Hello, is this Jimmy?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "This is." He says, "This is Terrence Butler," and
it didn't ring a bell at first, or
no, it didn't ring a bell. I was going Terrence Butler, and he says, "I'm putting together a new project, and I got your videotape from Sharon Osbourne," and all of a sudden I got it, and I said,
right.
"Oh my God, this is Geezer Butler."
This is,
you know, and I was
Geezer,
a huge
right.
Geezer Butler fan, huge. I mean, I liked Black Sabbath, but I loved Geezer Butler's playing because he always played so thunderous. His bass always stood out to me.
Thunder and
bass,
and he wrote the lyrics for most of those early songs.
Yeah, he did, and also just the way that he played. He had these amazing lines going all the way. You know, it was thunderous. You know, so he told me he was doing a project not as heavy as Sabbath, but heavy, but not, you know, he wanted to have keyboards and stuff. So they flew me to St. Louis. He had a house in St. Louis. And then yeah, I worked with him a little bit. The next thing you know, I was off to England. My first trip to England. So I was over there, and you know, the times were so different back then. You have I was with an agency, a big agency over there called Smallwood Taylor. They handled a lot of bands back then, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, you know, over there in that part.
Right.
And you know, I was getting paid for rehearsing. I mean, unreal. You know, here's just a project that Geezer's putting together.
Right, Geezer Butler Band, yeah.
Yeah, Geezer Butler. It was a weekly salary. I was getting a daily per diem to eat, and you know, putting me up in beautiful hotels. I mean, those things are unheard of nowadays.
Right,
you know?
It's almost like you're on tour.
Yeah,
you're not.
It was, yeah, it was. It was great. So it was a wonderful experience. And then one day I'm rehearsing with Geezer, and he comes into the room and he says, Jimmy, do you have any songs that are similar to possibly a Black Sabbath type song? And I said, well, it's funny you said that. I said, I've been working on this. I just wrote this track a little bit ago. And I said, in fact, I have a working title for it. I says, I'm just using the title Master of Insanity. Now I don't write lyrics, I just write music, but that title had come to me and I said, it sounded kind of cool, Master of Insanity.
Right.
So I played the song for Geezer. He really liked it. We worked it up, and then he wrote lyrics using the title of that song. So anyways, we showcase, we get signed. I get home, I'm all excited. I get a call from Gloria Butler, of course, Geezer's wife, and she says, Jimmy, I have bad news. The guy that signed the band, I don't know if it was MCA Records or whatever. Anyway, he got caught doing something bad.
And they booted him. They booted him out. Yeah.
They booted him out. All of his projects got booted. Everything else, anything he signed. So that was lost. So fast forward a couple of years, around 1992, stories are coming out that Black Sabbath is getting back together with Ronnie Dio.
Right, for Dehumanizer, yeah.
Yeah, for Dehumanizer. I get another phone call from Gloria. She says, Jimmy, I have some good news. She goes, as you heard that Black Sabbath is getting back together. And I said, yes, I heard that. She goes, well, I have good news. They're going to use your song, Master of Insanity. It's going to be on the new Black Sabbath record. And I'm jumping for joy. I'm going like, oh my God, this is great. I'm going to have a song on a Black Sabbath record.
Right.
She goes, cool. She goes, but there's one problem. And of course, there's always a problem. I go, well, what? She goes, we can't give you songwriting credit because Tony Iommi will never let a song from another guitar player on a Black Sabbath record. So we're going to have to say that Geezer wrote it. Geezer will put you in a special thanks, and we will pay you for the song at the end of the tour. So I mean, I was so disappointed. But what was I going to say? I wasn't in a position to fight them on it or anything.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and I don't want to burn bridges.
Oh, definitely not. Right now with Black Sabbath, right?
No, it's it's like, okay, as so the record comes out, my song gets mentioned as one of the better tracks on the record, which made me feel great. I go to see the band live a couple times. My song is in their set, so they didn't consider it a filler. It was actually a song that they felt was strong enough to put in the set. So anyways, the tour ends. I never received a dime. I wasn't expecting it, but I never got paid anything.
Right. So, especially you didn't get any paperwork or anything. Yeah.
No. And so I went through my life. I'm a pretty honest guy, and I did a lot of interviews, and some people did find out though, because books were getting published that I wrote the song. It was mentioned in Black Sabbath books. And I'm always honest, I wouldn't make up a story that I wrote a Black Sabbath song. I mean, you'd have to be kind of insane to say that if you can't, right. If it wasn't true,
right. You'd be unleashing the hordes on yourself with that one.
Yeah. I mean, that would be like, saying something really, really ridiculous. Like I used to be president of the United States or something, So one day I got to meet Ronnie James Dio after he left Sabbath again, was out doing a solo thing, and he came to my area, and for some reason I got to meet him. They were doing some special thing through a radio station. So I walk in, and I walk up to him. I go, hey Ronnie, my name is Jimmy Bell. And he looks right at me and he goes, Jimmy Bell, Master of Insanity. That's what he said to me.
Wow.
And I said, oh my God, He says, yep. He says, I know you wrote the song. He says, I told those guys just to pay you. What was the big deal? Why won't, what's it going to be for you to pay these, the guy wrote the song. Anyways, Ronnie took about 40 minutes in a corner talking with me about this whole thing. And it made me feel really good. Then finally, after many years, Ronnie was interviewed for a couple books, and they were talking about the dehumanizer thing. And in there, they were talking, Ronnie was saying his time in Black Sabbath, he actually wrote a lot of the lyrics. He said one lyrics that he didn't write was the song Master of Insanity, which he absolutely loves, which was written by Geezer Butler and guitarist Jimi Bell. He put it in writing.
Nice.
And yeah, and I finally went, oh, God, thank you so much.
Yeah, every story
finally,
I've heard about Ronnie, he's just been a stand-up guy and very real all the time with his fans and his interviews, and just a stand-up nice guy.
Oh my God, he's the best. He was an absolute, what a gentleman. And honestly, he that time when he took that 40 minutes to talk with me, he was supposed to be having like a dinner with it was people that won a contest, have dinner with Dio. So
Okay,
he was supposed to be eating with these people. The whole band was eating, and there was about maybe 5-6 people that were there. But Ronnie opted to. He felt the need to like tell me the whole thing and explain, and I thought that was really, really kind of him.
Very, very cool.
So anyways, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how things have happened. And then, I did a lot of other things. I did a record with David Wayne, the original singer, Metal Church. I did his solo record. And then I did something with Mike Facera, who sang for Loudness, and Yngwie. He was Yngwie's singer. He's got a bunch of solo records out. And then finally the House of Lords thing came around in 2005. James Christian had called me and said, Jimmy, I'm putting House of Lords back together. I want you to play guitar. He says, have you ever written a melodic rock song before? And I had no idea what a melodic rock song was, but I said, yes, I know how to do that.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, of course I did. Of course. So I had some stuff, and I sent it to him, and he really liked it. And even though it was heavy, like I was sending him some stuff that had some drop D tunings and everything. By the time he put keyboards on it, and then did the typical, big, huge harmonies that House of Lords has on all their songs.
Right, which kind of their earmark, yeah.
Yeah, it's their earmark. That song, that heavy riff thing that I gave him automatically turned into a House of Lords song. And it was amazing that to see that. So once I got the rhythm of what was going on, I started, it all came natural. And then I really started writing, learning how to write melodic rock songs more. Like, in other words, like keeping the choruses not busy, big open chords for the choruses so he could sing some big harmonies on it.
Right.
Also, possible modulating up to a different key when the chorus comes in. Little tricks that make the songs interesting. So the more I was working, the more I really got the hang of it. But he really liked the heavy rock riffs. He kept encouraging me, send me those, those drop tuning things. I really like them, and it's a great balance. So, House of Lords became less keyboards, more guitar when I joined. Got a little bit of, flack for that, because House of Lords was all about Greg Giuffria.
Right.
But people really embraced once we came out with the World Upside Down album, and it got such an incredible review. People started to say, okay, well, there's something going on here, so automatically every record we did, people were really digging. So, but James always played keyboards in all the songs anyway. It wasn't like we took a song and left the keyboards out totally. Every song has keyboards in it. Something.
Yeah, Coming to My Kingdom was another great one that you guys put out. That was awesome.
Yeah. My favorite, one of my favorite songs to play is Cartesian Dreams, which was the third album. I really like that one. I like that song. And then we, as we got into you know, we did Big Money, and that was a very cool thing. And then Precious Metal, I started really getting into some stuff. Like that song Battle that's on there. I really hit something really cool when I was writing that. And you know, like a you know, that type of a really up tempo, you know, tried some different beat things. So it's a great band it was a great stepping stone for me and learning platform writing. And I do that every House of Lords record. I always try to, you know, do something a little different, you know.
Yeah, it's been great stuff. I really enjoyed it. And then in July, was it 2019? I think you joined Autograph then as their lead guitarist, right?
Steve did this big post that he was quitting the band. I knew Steve prior, and I had become friends with the guys. Like I would go see them when they played around, and I got to, you know, hang with them and meet Randy and Simon and talk with them. And then when you know, Steve was leaving to go do another project, I got a call from Randy, because you know, I would put up these little videos of me playing guitar in my room or down here on the, you know, just me shredding or doing some country stuff, and I would always see Randy hit the like button, you know,
So
or
he's
he'd write
checking you out for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was checking me out, or a Killer Brother, especially when I did a country thing. So he at the time came and he says, I said, well, I'd really, you know, wouldn't mind doing it. I says, I don't get to play in the US much. I said, every time House of Lords does anything, I said, it's always away
Right.
in Europe. Not that I don't mind going to Europe. I've been all over Europe. I love it. I have a lot of fans over there and I miss them terribly. But you know, I didn't play in the US much. So having them you know, hire me on to play for Autograph, you know, doing shows around the US was a lot of fun. So that's what
I was real pleasantly surprised when I saw the new album coming out and I got to talk to Simon. You know, I was kind of a little shocked they were bringing this back. I'm like, well, that's really great. And then unfortunately with the news with Randy at the end of that, kind of,
oh God,
you
it's
know, so
terrible.
it's
But you
kind of
know,
like a legacy to him for this album, which
it
is,
is.
you know,
He was, you know, here's the thing too. When I joined Autograph, you know, I knew I was just gonna, you know, I was, you know, hired on to play guitar. So it's like, I expected I was going to play a lot, you know, whatever they threw at me, you know, whatever songs they told me to do, I was going to do. It's, you know, it was my job.
right.
But I did tell them, I said, you know, I write a lot of music. And I said, I would love to write some new music with you guys. I don't know if you're up for it. If that's not what you want me for, then fine. I'll just play, you know, what you want me to, but I'd like to write, you know, new music. And they were all about it. So we started doing stuff. And then all this, you know, it was funny that the Demons Down and the Autograph thing all came within almost the same conversation.
Oh, really?
On my initial conversation with it all started around then, you know.
Right.
So you know, I started writing a lot of stuff, and I was, you know, we started really plowing through it. Now, keep in mind though, like I said, I was writing for Saints and Sinners, the last Autograph album. Then I'm writing for Beyond and the Demons Down record all at the same time. So I had to shift gears for whoever I'm writing, you know,
right.
Which
into a different mindset, have a different sound, and you probably even maybe use different effects or whatever.
Yeah, you go in and you have to. I try to keep in mind. See, now with Demons Down, I had no idea who the singer was. I was only going by what they told me. They said they want to try to do a little bit of classic, like try to make it like some classic House of Lords stuff or some, you know, but a little bit heavier and stuff. So I kind of got what they were saying, and I started firing off a bunch of material to Alessandro, because he was the one writing the lyrics and producing the project, and he's great. He's a genius.
Right. You got some new guys in there. So you got the vocalist James Robledo from Sinner's Blood.
Yeah, that blew me away right there. You know, but here's the thing: when they were talking to me, like they called me first, And when they were talking to me, Mario from Frontiers, he's saying, Jimmy, we want you to do one of these super group things. Are you interested? I said, absolutely. And he sent me a list of all the super groups. And I knew who all they were because, I'm buddies with Red Beach and Joel Hoekstra and, and Michael Sweet and everybody else. So I knew all about these projects. So I was all up for it, but I didn't know that Ken Mary and Chuck Wright were going to be involved.
Right.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I was like, yes, this is so cool. I said, now we got the original House of Lords rhythm section,
right.
me and the new version of House of Lords, and these two other incredible musicians. Now I didn't know anything about Francesco or James, but man, when I heard the songs, once they were sung, when James sang them, I was floored. I'm still floored. Every time I put on one of the videos and I hear he comes in with his voice, I just start shaking my head. I start going, oh my God.
Yeah,
definitely. What a voice.
Definitely some killer tracks. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to actually play one of the tracks. We'll play the video for I Stand from the Demons Down album coming out March 10th. And we'll be right back here with Jimmy Bell on Talking About Rock. All right, we're back here on Talking About Rock. Just checked out the track for I Stand from Demons Down. Great stuff, man. I'm really liking that new sound that you got coming out, both the tracks.
Yeah,
Excellent
it's
stuff.
I stand, when I wrote the music for that, no secret of my influences. I always say, I was, I'm older, so my influences are older, but I was influenced from Johnny Winter, blues guitar player, who was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
But Richie Blackmore, then Al Di Meola was where I got all my fast picking technique. Keep in mind when I was learning, playing fast and doing all that stuff, there was no such thing as an as a Yngwie Malmsteen.
Right.
I was all this stuff that came way later. I had already developed my style of playing and everything. But I was always a huge Richie Blackmore fan, and I Stand. You can't help to notice that it has a vibe of like something he would have possibly done with Rainbow. Like when Dio was in, it's got the Arabian type,
Right.
and I've always, loved Richie more than you can imagine. So this was kind of like something I really wanted to do. But what really blew my mind is I didn't know what James sang like. So I wrote this track. I heard what Alessandro did with it because Alessandro did sing on everything. And I liked the words. I liked everything he was doing. But then as soon as James sang on it, it was like, to me, James is almost like very like a Ronnie Dio almost in a sense. He's got the real power
Right.
and the aggression that Ronnie Dio has in his voice. And I was floored.
Yeah, the
Like I said,
tracks are definitely excellent. I can't wait for the rest of it to drop. And you have become what they've called the go-to guitarist for studio work, man. You're not just doing 3 or 4 different bands. No,
yeah,
you're working with like ESPN, WWE, Impact Wrestling, NASCAR, and I think you're a wrestling fan, aren't you?
huge. Man, when I got the phone call, I was just telling somebody this story. I was playing in a cover band. Do you have time? You got
Yeah,
time?
of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was playing in a cover band around here and at a club, and there was this guy that working the door. He was a bouncer. His name was Mikhail Kersley, and I got done playing, and he came up to me and said, he says, "Man, I love your playing." He says, "You would do great where my second job is." I go, "Really?" I go, "Well, where do you work?" He says, "I work down at the WWE." And I went, "Oh," it was like a
The
little
doors were
kid.
opened for you. It's like, ah, that's
It was like
excellent,
that. It's
man.
like this,
Right? Right in your wheelhouse. Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it was
got
like
so
because I
much
was a
stuff.
huge wrestling fan, especially from the early day. The Hogan and Ultimate Warrior,
Right. It
Macho
was different
Man.
way back in the 80s. It was a whole different type of
Yeah,
feel.
I
Yeah.
loved it. Jake the Snake and Ravishing Rick Rude. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I mean, the list goes on and on. So he brought I had a promo pack. He brought it down to the producer that did all the themes. His name is Jim Johnston, wonderful person. And within the day after I gave him the promo package, my phone rings, and it was WWE calling me to come down and do something. And I went down there. I started doing tracks for wrestlers anywhere between like 2006 to like 2015, 16. And then Jim was no longer there after a while. I don't know why, but it just something happened. But while he was there, anytime they wanted wild guitar playing on
You you were the
some
go-to
wrestlers,
guy.
yeah, I was the guy. They would call me up, and Stanford's only an hour away from me, so I drive down there, and it's so cool because I walk in, and I'm in the waiting room, and then I'm and then all of a sudden I see he comes out. They call me in, And I'm trying to, while I'm taking my guitar out of the case,
Right.
everything's got to be done real fast, because this is whatever I'm doing right now at that studio is going to be aired that night on Monday Night Raw or on SmackDown on Tuesday.
Right.
When it was on a Tuesday night. So he's playing. I'm getting a guitar. He's playing. What's going to happen? Okay, you got to do it. I want you to do this. No, very little small talk.
Right.
And he usually had a rhythm pattern all done. He told me where he wanted me to solo, and I would do that. And then sometimes he'd have me redo the rhythm. But he was so impressed with what I did every time I went down there. He was just so happy. And that made me feel so good, because I really, really wanted to build a good working relationship down there. And it was great. And, it was nothing cooler than going home and putting on Monday Night Raw, and then all of a sudden hearing myself come on the TV.
Here's some of your licks coming out,
Yeah,
right?
hearing myself play guitar. And what was even cooler is, like, every time they came around locally, I would get tickets. They'd give me tickets to go to the show. I always have great seats. And I'm sitting in the arena. All of a sudden, my theme comes on. It's something I played on. And it was just like, oh, my God, this is just amazing. So, it's been really cool. I've done, like I said, some stuff for NASCAR, TV, Ultimate Fighter program. I've done a bunch of stuff. I've done stuff for an auction thing that was on ESPN, Meekum Auction. A car auction thing.
Right.
I played. I even did a theme for David Spade. David Spade had a TV show for a while. I did that, and something for football. Just whatever I can. Whatever they want to hire me to do.
Keep yourself busy. You are so busy, man, all the time. You got all this stuff going on, and you also invented the shred neck. Also,
yeah. And now, recently, you might not even know this, but for a while, I've had this company that redoes Black Sabbath songs. They're called Emerald Sabbath.
Okay.
And they usually have people that are somewhat involved with Sabbath or something, or have played with them on something, and they're on these tunes. Well, they wanted me to redo Master of Insanity, and I just sent it in. I just managed. Once I had to get all my records done. And then once those were done, I finally got to do Master of Insanity. I pulled it up and did it the next day and sent it. And the guy producing it loves it. So they have all my tracks now for Master of Insanity. And Vinny Appice played drums on it, just like he did in the Black Sabbath version. So they kept the song almost identical. That matter of fact, it is identical. The only thing that they changed was they added one little thing to the solo section of the song that wasn't in what I did. And other than that, though, it's identical. So it's wonderful. Really
very
cool.
cool. Awesome. And it looks like you're going to be going back out on the road coming up March 3rd.
Yeah, I've got
back out with Autograph.
Yeah, I got a bunch of shows coming up with Autograph. A couple cruises, doing a Monsters of Rock cruise next. At the beginning of next month, we're doing the big. I'm not quite sure. It's called the '80s cruise, and I know the only rock acts on it are Autograph, Vixen, and Bret Michaels. And then there's all these other bands like Devo and all these other things on there. I think some disco, anything that was 80s is on this cruise.
It looks like from the 8th to the 10th, the 80s cruise to Ensenado, Cabo, and Puerto Vallarta. Looks like for you.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
That's excellent. And you got a couple different dates going on with that. After that too, you're back. Like you said, you're back for Monsters of Rock cruise. You got.
There's actually a lot of dates with Autograph that aren't on the schedule yet, but we have them. Sullivan's like that. He doesn't like to have them posted until everything is 100% locked in. But in other words, yes, this is going to happen, but until everything is 100% finalized, they don't
Right.
get
Yeah, they can't
posted onto
post
the
it. Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah. Well, I
'Cause
hope to
what's the
see some
sense?
dates a little closer to my neck of the woods here in Buffalo, New York. That would be awesome to see you guys play here. But I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on. We wish you the best of luck with the new album, Demons Down. I
This was a
Stand coming out
pleasure.
March 10th. That's going to be awesome from Frontiers Music. And I think they're going to be putting together some Frontiers festivals, is what I've been hearing too. So
Yeah,
maybe you guys will make the rounds with that too.
I got to be honest, man. I really want to tour with Demons Down. I love the band that much. It's something I really something I really feel strong about that. I think would be really, really great to do. So I'm hoping that I could convince the guys to, I hope, because everybody's kind of, I know Ken, Mary, and Chuck do some other things, but if there's a way we could make this happen, because they love the band too, very much. So let's keep our fingers crossed, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Jimmy. I really appreciate it, man. Stopping
real
by
pleasure,
and chatting
my
with
friend.
us, man. Hope to see you out there. And if you folks out there have comments or questions, feel free to email us at talkingaboutrock@gmail.com. You can like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for this interview, it'll be on our YouTube channel and streaming on all the services as well. Jimmy, again,
Awesome.
man, thank you so much, dude.
Hey, thank you for having me. Call me anytime. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Have a good night.